Right, so back to a story that is all new this morning for us. The president of Georgia's NAACP says he's stepping down at the end of next month. He is the youngest NAACP president Georgia has ever had. James Woodall made the announcement last night. He says he will continue to fulfill his duties as president until July 31st. In his resignation letter, he says serving Georgia has been one of the greatest honors of his life. Although he's moving out of this position, he still plans to continue working with the NAACP. Barbara Pierce will fill his spot.